Bills. Washington, text.
3, 2, 1, go. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. How was your weekend, everybody? Feeling good? Oh, man, mine was good. Much needed. It was the first weekend for Stephanie and I to be alone home with the baby, just kind of chilling and, getting into our schedule and our flow. We managed to get a little bit of rest this weekend, not normal rest, like sleep through the night rest, because, baby's not going to let you do that just yet. She's 1 month old, but we got some what newborn parents of newborns rests looks like. So we had a good weekend. Feeling great this morning. Hope you guys are feeling good this morning, too. It's nice to see Mighty Megatron and Drew Van Runkle and Floby Tenderson, and special guest Brandon Meyer is back in the chat. I miss you so much. I think about you every time I eat crabs. They're delicious. I had some crab this weekend. It wasn't real crab. It was surimi imitation crab. Don't be mad. We can't really get good crab here in the Midwest. Why are you talking about crabs, Austin? Because pretty sure that Mr. Brandon Meyer is a crab fisherman, or at least I know he goes out in the dangerous waters and brings us our delicious catch of the day. It's delicious. Yes. Barney didn't see any Hazel pictures this weekend. Disappointing. I know. I was being lazy. Just enjoying my weekend. It was absolutely wonderful. Got some time off and weather wasn't too bad. Hope that you guys are... Brandon Meyer says, it's okay. Crab's okay. Who can afford it? I can't even buy it. Yikes. Thanks, Kamala Harris, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's in charge, right? I love all the memes that I'm seeing where they're showing Kamala Harris is like, if you elect me to my administration will fix this problem. And it's like, you are part of the administration now. Why can't you fix it now? Well, we're going to Joe Biden's the president. Is he, though? Is he really? I really don't think that he is. No. No, I don't think that Joe Biden's in charge.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him...
Yes. On the Wake Up America show, brought to you by viewers and listeners like you. How do you support the show? You click that stinking like button like it owes you money. You just slap it around. You hit the button right there. You know what I'm talking about? Hit that damn button. The like button. Today's going to be a fun day. We've got a ton of great news content to cover. We're going to go through the threat to Elon Musk's free speech. Ask the question, why does the left want to silence Elon Musk? I think you guys, many of you know the answer to that.
I can first.
We'll talk about that this morning on the Wake Up America show. We're going to talk about obesity in America. Did you know, though, the good news is, and we're going to look at all the fattest states of America. Maybe you live in one of them, right? If you live on the island of Guam and you're too fat, perhaps the island might tip over. Anyone get the reference? And we're also going to talk about the fact that America is not the fattest nation in the world. Oh, lovely. It's good to hear. We don't have to be number one at everything, right? Whoops. Forgot to flick the like bean. Oh, Drew, you dirty.
How dare you?
Today's going to be fun. Not only do we have a lot of great stories, I have a billion clips to play for you of the latest news. At 8 o'clock Central, we'll speak to John Miltimore from the American Institute of Economic Research about the founder of the Telegram, a secure messaging app, was arrested in France, of all places. We're going to talk about that this morning with John Miltimore. The threats to our free speech are absolutely everywhere. People were sharing around a clip of my old friend John McAfee, may he rest in peace, and his discussion about privacy apps, wherein he essentially said in sum total that there really is no such thing as privacy anymore. If you think you're on a secure app, then that's going to protect your privacy from governments or black hat hackers, then he's got a bridge to sell you in the Catalan prison, where I imagine his body is still which has not been returned to the United States. Hopefully that happens one day for you, John. Speaking of Johns, John Rail joins us, says, good morning, Austin. Merry Monday, Mass. Yes. Floby Tenderson hanging out, making sure that the audio is good. I've been making a lot of tweaks to the audio lately. Hopefully today we'll have beautiful audio. I think that we will, but it's nice to monitor the chat, so because I know you guys will tell me immediately. Caleb Vanderfelt's hanging out with us, as well as Drew Van Ruckel. We appreciate that you guys are all joining us live this morning on the Wake Up America show. We're going to be talking a lot about free speech today, or perhaps the lack thereof. Donald Trump stepping up campaigning. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. steps down, pulls his name from the ballot in swing states to help Donald Trump. Give it up for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We've given him a hard time, and I think for good reason. But he did the right thing. And I wrote an article that came out in Human Events magazine last week that you can read over at humanevents.com. So if you're curious to hear a little bit more of an in-depth explanation for how I feel about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s dropping out, then please do check out that article. I think for a brief few minutes more this morning, I'm going to leave it pinned to the top of my X account at AP for Liberty. And then I'm going to pin today's live stream over on x.com, which people are already responding to and joining us to over this morning. Nice to see you guys. Yes, we're going to speak about Elon Musk this morning. Also joining Donald Trump and the threats to his free speech, which one of the most powerful and richest men in the world, if they can clamp down on his free speech, well, they can clamp down on anybody's. But Elon Musk doesn't care. Elon Musk doesn't give a rip. He is continuing to do his best for humanity, despite what the left is trying to do to throw roadblocks in his way. Boeing employees feeling humiliated that the upstart rival SpaceX will rescue the astronauts who have been stuck in space. It's shameful, writes the Boeing employees. Perhaps you guys need to get your act together, Boeing. And I'm laughing at this headline, which is laughing at the idea of Elon Musk potentially becoming the head of NASA. Futurism.com, I can imagine left liberal. It's the science style type of website. Writes this headline by Victor Tengerman. Bonkers plan calls for making Elon Musk head of NASA. They're freaking out, man. Oh, no. Oh, baby, don't you know what you're worth? Ooh, Austin is the place on earth. I don't know. I just make up the lyrics as I go. If you're watching the Wake Up America show and you like hanging out with us, make sure the follow button is clicked before thou leavest. Before thou leavest on thy journey today, thou must thus forthnightly, go forth and clicketh thy followeth button. Yes, if you click the follow button underneath the channel, then you can find us again tomorrow morning. It's AP for Liberty. Gosh darn it. How come you don't know that? I'm everywhere. For the love of God. AP for Liberty, Instagram, Facebook, X, Rumble, everywhere it's AP for Liberty. I know. You're like, don't yell at me, Austin. It's first time hanging out with you. I understand. Okay. I'm sorry. No, don't leave. All right, listen, I didn't mean to unload on you on like that or dump on you like that. It's just, I got a lot of things going on in my life. A new baby, right? Finances are always scary when you're trying to feed a child, and then they're screaming and they're up all night. So I'm a little bit stressed. I didn't mean to dump on you. Come on. I did get to enjoy the experience of watching my wife see the movie Wayne's World, I think, for the first time since she was like a baby. So don't leave. Click the subscribe button, which is where I got the whole talking to the camera thing right there. That's that little bit. The Wake Up America show brought to you by viewers and listeners like you, and you can reach out to the show. Let us know what's on your mind. 573-319-1586 is a telephone number. You can call me. Just call this number now. Call me. Beep, 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 beep. 573. No need to hesitate. No time to sit and wait. Yeah. 573-319-1586 is the text line. We have a lot of fun on the Wake Up America show, and I want to know what's on your mind. And you can text that number anytime, night or day. 573-319-1586 is the text line. So just program it into your phone and then we can hang out on the regs. What say you? Shall we hang out on the regs? Yes? Yeah? Shall we? Huh? Yes. I'm 43 years old, damn it. Million billion clips, news stories. This story, I covered it briefly in some of the bonus content last week about this European Union commissioner who was threatening Elon Musk over their censorship rules in the EU, meaning in relation to Elon Musk's planned interview with Donald Trump. Did you get to listen to Donald Trump's interview by Elon Musk last week? It was an interesting discussion. First 20 or 30 minutes of it or so was a little bit kind of rehashing a lot of the things that we all know. But the European Union commissioner by the name of Terry Breton warned Elon Musk to respect the EU's censorship laws during his then pending interview with Donald Trump. So the EU was threatening Elon in a similar fashion to how the government officials in the United Kingdom have been threatening to deport and arrest Americans using extradition laws if people like you and I go against hate speech laws in the United Kingdom, that they would actually go about and seize American citizens in our country, extradite them to the United Kingdom, and then fine us or jail us in compliance with their anti-civil liberty legislation. I mean, I don't know whether to press the boo button, the laugh button. Mighty Megatron sent a $2 donation, and he's wanting to unlock the bonus content, I can imagine. We hit that $60 goal. We unlocked today's bonus content. Austin, what's the bonus content? Somebody in the chat, tell the noobs what the bonus content is. I'll get to it in a minute. Did I get the link about the surprise Arizona City Council meeting earlier? Yes, I did. The only problem is, Mighty Megatron, is that it's like a 10-minute clip, and I don't know enough background on the story, and I haven't been able to watch the whole clip, so I can't play that today. Maybe tomorrow. But if I react in real time, there's something in there that doesn't make sense. I don't want to like shoot off the cuff. I want to make sure I know the story before I report on it. But I will check it out, and thank you for sending it to me. Speaking of knowing the story before you report on it, I've got a billion stories today. Probably won't have time to get to all of them, but I'm hoping to at least cover the ones that I've already mentioned, and then I have like 2 or 3, or basically I've got some good machine gun news, and this is like a 5-second story, and I've got a billion clips. We've got to talk about the threats to free speech. And I got to tell you, I mean, when I heard this clip from Tim Waltz, I mean, just typical dictator talk. But I think I know and can answer the question of why the left wants so badly to censor Elon Musk. It's not just because Elon Musk is supporting Donald Trump. It's because of the real threat that Elon Musk poses to the left's core ideology and the spearhead of the movement coming from the Democratic left. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But let me just play this clip here for you from the future vice dictator-in-chief. Take a listen.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Right. So Tim Waltz there, Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick, is saying that there is no guarantee of free speech surrounding what they call misinformation surrounding our democracy, right? And of course, the our democracy is just whatever the elites want, right?
I can first.
Right, so he says this.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Yes. As LW78 says, Tim Waltz is so nakedly authoritarian. Yes. And again, it's not about our democracy, right? And over the weekend, the left was complaining online about the Electoral College, right? Because they know that that's one of the only things standing in their way of a total leftist takeover of this nation. They're upset about the Electoral College, and yet they have decided to put forth a candidate that no one voted for. Fascinating. It's like someone on my X account said that our democracy just means whatever the elites want, right? It's our democracy, meaning it's all theirs. It's not yours. We don't get to participate in it. How we vote doesn't matter. How the founding fathers set up the Constitution or electoral system doesn't matter. All that matters is what the elites want, right? And these people, they don't understand their history or why the Electoral College was put in place. I mean, when you look at the map, it's an ocean of red, right? The United States is an ocean of red with tiny little blue oases, right? New York, LA, right? Say certain pockets, here and around the Great Lakes region and things. But they want to totally control and dominate the United States through a pure democracy, and they know they can do it if the Electoral College didn't stand in their way. I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that dang Electoral College. Scooby-Doo ending, right? Wayne's World. Sorry. The Electoral College was the only way that the founders could really get the Constitution across the finish line, you understand. The Constitution was the only way that the states would say, yes, we will join the Union, noting that we have a lower population than New York at the time or South Carolina or whatever any new state that joins the Union. Think about Alaska. I mean, how low the population is there. They want to be able to have a say in the direction of the United States, and they deserve a say in the future of the United States. Alaska, Hawaii, Florida, New York, any of the states of the Union should have in some way, some form of an equal representation. And that's why we also have 2 senators who initially were chosen by the state delegations, but through Democrats finagling over 100 years and during the height of the progressive era, Woodrow Wilson and the 17th Amendment came through the legislatures and was passed, which took away our proper constitutional check and balance and forced a direct Democratic election of U.S. senators, which for most conservatives and libertarians and originalists of the Constitution, it is one of the worst things that has happened to the United States because it has taken away the obligation that senators have to serve the needs of the interests of the citizens of their states through their duly elected representatives in the state legislature. That's a longer conversation and not one we're going to have right now. But the left wants to remove every single barrier that there is to them taking power. And of course, our free speech and our ability to challenge them at the ballot box, to challenge them in the media. They are doing everything they can to subvert our ability to fight back. But we're going to fight back anyway, damn it. Just a quick side note, guys. I am going to be on the lawyer Viva Fry's show he's like really huge here on Rumble. Some people have said that we would get along. We kind of reached out. We had a little kumbaya moment over RFK Jr. this last weekend. And he hit me up and was like, hey, Austin, let's do something sooner rather than later. I've got a lot of people who said that we would really get along. So I'm going to be on Fry's show today at 11:30, I believe. And I'm going to try to multi-stream it so that it'll be on this channel as well as on Fry's channel. But I mean, I get more benefit from being on his channel because he's huge. So if you want to hear that conversation today, then at 11:30, you can check our channel if you want to support my channel. But if you want to see us over on Fry's channel, then yeah, you can see me over there. So at 11:30 a.m. Central Time today, I'll be on Fry's show. Elon Musk is in the crosshairs of the globalist elite, the left, the international socialist cabal, because he is a threat to their power, not because he is supporting Donald Trump, but because he says things like this.
So I think a lot of people thought when you bought Twitter that this is kind of an outlier. Like, what doesn't fit with these other things you're doing? I never thought that. Because I think you're dealing with big civilizational issues and problems, and I was right on your page. I think Twitter is one of them. I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
Yes.
In really apocalyptic terms.
Yeah.
You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me.
Okay, shut up, Bill Maher. But I mean, you set it up. Still, this is why Elon is a danger.
Why you think that?
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that
anti-meritocratic
that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous.
So an attack on free speech, right? And an attack on meritocracy. See, these are the two concepts that the left is trying to degrade and destroy in this country. Elon Musk has identified these problems correctly, and he is attacking the root. Libertarians, we used to have this saying whenever we would argue maybe against conservatives when we were talking about the real problem when it comes to like crony capitalism or corporatism, we would always say strike the root. The problem is the government intervention into the marketplace, if you will. However, in the cultural battles that we're fighting right now, against cultural Marxism, Elon Musk has identified the philosophical vanguard of the left, which is just destroy free speech, right? Which is why you saw that EU censor wanting to shut up Elon Musk, to destroy free speech and destroy merit, to destroy people who are capable. I mean, this is something out of an Ayn Rand novel. Did anybody read The Fountainhead or read Atlas Shrugged? The left has become the villains in the novels that Ayn Rand so potently wrote down in the 1950s.
It's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. So, another way to almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously, people have tried to cancel you many times.
Many times.
Yeah, I mean,
every week.
Yeah.
From left and right. I've had it from both sides.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. People, you and I are both like in that little group of people. Maybe it's a bigger group now.
Yeah.
Who are called conservative, who haven't really changed. I don't think of you as a conservative.
I'm definitely, like I at least think of myself as a moderate. So, I mean, at least I've spent a massive amount of my life energy building sustainable energy, electric vehicles and batteries and solar and stuff. To help save the environment. That's not a,
No.
And the left loves them some environment, man. Do you ever just want to tell somebody to just shut up about the environment? Shut up about it for the love of God. Like, get a new hobby.
not exactly far right.
No, not exactly. See, me, shut up about the environment, far right. All right, I got a moment here. So let me just explain for those of you who are new. Instead of watching commercials when I go to get my guests on the Wake Up America show, it's a lot more fun to get bonus content. I think our friend, somebody earlier was saying, yes, this is way more fun. So commercials, they're 5 minutes. I create them. They're fun. I use them as a way to not only just like make money. It's not like a whole money scheme necessarily, right? I do want to earn some more cash than I would.
Can you bless me with something?
You know, I do.
Oh, gosh. Money-wise. Please.
Can you suck it?
What?
What?
What? I do want money, obviously, but the commercials are a way for me to buy time. Like maybe I got to go pee for liberty, right? Or I've got to, cough or scream or shout and let it all out. Do whatever. I've got to get something done, get a guest on the show. I use those commercials as my time to run a quick errand, whatever. But it's way more fun instead of you watching the commercials to see a story in the news that I maybe don't have time to cover, but I want to share with you. So everybody wins. If we hit the $60 total in Rumble Rants by the end of the show, then you guys get to watch the bonus content. And we've already got $2 towards the $60 goal. You may say wah wah, but we are always super grateful for what we receive from our guests who voluntarily decide to support what they believe in. Mighty Megatron sent in $2 earlier. Thank you, Megatron. But here's the fun thing. Do you guys like shopping? I'm looking for a man who shops for liberty, for libertyshop.com. If you go to forlibertyshop.com, then any purchases that are made during the 2-hour show that's live count towards that $60 total. So grab yourself a mug. We've got a new golf collection with polos, some beautiful golf balls that say things like bad word incoming, fuck around and find out, and a lot of other fun stuff at forlibertyshop.com. So why not head over there, browse around, check out the Calvin Coolidge collection while you're there. Just type in Calvin Coolidge. Look at all the awesome Silent Cal stuff. The best Calvin Coolidge collection in the world. Like Stephanie and I were so angry when we went to Jefferson's Monticello, and we went into the gift shop, and I think Stephanie's turning a little bit misogynist or something, because she's like, this is what happens when you put women in charge of everything. I was like, what? He's like, yes, this is all so boring. We need like revolutionary posters. We need like awesome hardcore Thomas Jefferson merch where he like looks badass with like sunglasses and just like cool Thomas Jefferson stuff that everyone knows. Instead, it's like a bunch of like little stupid like dolls and crafts. And it's like even the girls who went in there are like, I don't want any of this stupid stuff, right? So like Stephanie and I, one day long term, we will like get the business of whoever runs Thomas Jefferson's Monticello gift shop, and we'll be like, all right, we're running this merch stuff right now. Thomas Jefferson, badass, revolutionary, patriotic. But you know what it is? They'll be offended. Right? The Thomas Jefferson Ladies Club running the merchandise shop. All right, boring. There's a reason why Kenny Webster of Walton and Johnson Radio, one of the biggest conservative radio stations in Texas on the Gulf Coast. Let's give a shout out to my boys down there. The reason they called me a few months ago and said, hey, AP, you got the best merch shop in the world. We want in on that action. And I said, you can have some of that action, Walton and Johnson. They've got their whole collection set up at forlibertyshop.com. It's the best patriotic merch shop in the world. And Stephanie, my wife, and I, and one other person pretty much design everything there, which means that it's all original. It's exclusive. Go to forlibertyshop.com and help us to unlock that bonus content. We just have to hit $60. LW78. Lol, Steffi being based. Yes, Steffi is quite frequently based. Sometimes I'm even kind of like, I'm looking at Stephanie, I'm like, dang, Stephanie, like, can you calm it down a little bit? Like, I was watching a Gavin McInnes segment one time on his show, and he was talking about how, like, when you, like, finally get your wives, like, brainwashed appropriately with your politics, like, they actually will, like, take it farther than you. They'll go too far, and you'll be like, yo, you know, bring it back a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just teasing. I love my wife. She's holding our beautiful child right now. L-Dub says he does like visiting Monticello, but he agrees with the criticism of the shop. Not enough raw Americana in it. Yes, thank you. Where is the, like, Thomas Jefferson with an American flag, looking cool, patriot, like grunge stuff for like men, right? But you go there and a lot of the stuff doesn't have anything to do with Monticello. And then it's like, oh, then here's the books about the slaves and make sure you remember. It's like, were you excited about seeing Thomas Jefferson's Monticello? Well, guess what? She's waiting right there, the tour guide, to tell you.
Do not come. Do not come.
If I was in charge. Yes, if you're enjoying the Wake Up America show, please do click that like button. We are infotainment. We have a lot of fun on here, and we'd love to have you be a regular guest if it's your first time here watching the Wake Up America show. So we answered the question, why does the left want to silence Elon Musk? It's time to hit the million billion clips before John Miltimore joins us 30 minutes from now. Even ABC is calling Kamala out for using images of President Trump's border wall in her ads. Interesting. Watch.
But if you take a look at that ad, and one thing that I found striking is if you look, and I think we have the images here, there are at least 3 points in that ad that show the border wall, Donald Trump's border wall. Is it now the position of the Democrats that they favor the border wall? But if you take a look at that ad, and one thing that
yeah. Remember when Bernie Sanders said, open borders is a Koch brothers idea so they can bring in labor. It's funny how like both like Republicans and Democrats are both against immigration for like similar or different reasons. And then they're both for immigration for certain reasons, because it's like, you know, certain Republicans want the labor, certain Democrats want the vote, but some of them have to pretend like they're pro, like shutting down the border, and then others are really for shutting down the border. It's just the immigration issue is just such a mess. I was watching this Smithsonian documentary, the America in Color documentary series on the Smithsonian Channel, which comes with our Paramount subscription. Actually, really good. We didn't know that we had that. So Stephanie and I were watching some of the color documentaries that the Smithsonian has, and yeah, there's like some pro-government propaganda in there, obviously, because the first in color episode that they have is the immigration one, which was a fascinating story, and it really does give you some sense of scope of just how the United States actually used to really work to bring immigrants into American culture. Assimilation was really important. When Italian immigrants would come to the United States, there was pressure to learn English. They showed public information campaigns about one Italian immigrant who didn't speak English, and so all he could get were unskilled labor jobs. And then he would get harmed on those unskilled labor jobs because he wasn't able to read the warning signs in English about what might happen. And then they showed him later on again, this is a propaganda film, but it has a good point that once he learned English, he was able to assimilate into American society. He was able to become an upstanding citizen. They had public ceremonies, and I can't remember. I don't think the government was running these ceremonies, but these were just institutions and communities that would show the melting pot, and they would actually have the immigrants walk through the melting pot as a symbolic gesture of your old identity leaving you, melting away, and coming into the United States and accepting American values and American culture and the language that we speak here in the United States. Nowadays, if we try and did something like that, it'd be racist, right? It'd be awful, racist, hateful. Oh, all right. But I did like this idea. And I like the fact, especially, that most of it did not come from government institutions. Italians, for example, set up their own societies in order to help Italian immigrants who would come to the United States, but it was to help them assimilate. It was to help them become American citizens and to help them overall blend in with the culture of the United States in a way that ensured that, that there was a respect for our constitutional processes, right? A respect for our laws, respect for our way of life. Quite frankly, I don't want the Middle East coming to the United States. I don't want the culture of the Middle East. I don't mind people who are legally immigrating here from the Middle East, right? But I don't want leave your culture with you. It's like when Californians moved to Colorado and they California'd Colorado, and now they're trying to do it to other states as well, right? Don't California my Missouri. Don't California my Texas. Don't California my Alabama, Georgia, and my Florida. Am I right? I mean... D-Shep 311 reminds us, man, you are old school, D-Shep, and you must be a local fella here to bring this up. Remember when you interviewed that Steinman guy who always runs in Jefferson City as a libertarian? Yes, I do. He actually passed away last year. He says, and then he got on the show and complained about non-union workers. LOL, what a joke. I know. Because again, they're left and right on the immigration issue. I mean, they're hypocrites, right? You can't have a nuanced conversation about the topic anymore, sadly. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. decided to endorse Donald Trump. It was a huge decision. Again, I wrote about it all about it in my column on humanevents.com. You can read it at the website. I am going to take that off of the pin for the Wake Up America show today over on x.com so that people can watch the live stream. Somebody decided to head over to forlibertyshop.com this morning and make themselves a nice, big, beautiful purchase. Here's the thing. Was that forlibertyshop.com? Oh, it was. It was you. Oh, frickety. You went to the golf collection this morning. Nice. Good for you, brother. Got yourself a nice haul this morning, and you unlocked today's bonus content. Everybody say thank you to Frickety. Frickety, frickety, frick. Hey, brother, we appreciate you very much. You've unlocked the bonus content, which means when John Miltimore comes to join us here a little bit less than 30 minutes from now, you guys are going to get to see the bonus content. I know. Very exciting. Everybody say thank you, Frickety. Doesn't mean that you have to stop donating. I do want to remind you all that about the locals page for the For Liberty Network. As most of you know, The Wake Up America show is going to become a triumvirate, right? So I will become the Julius Caesar to my Pompey and my Gaius Crassus, I believe. Was it Gaius Crassus? I know it was Crassus. Crassus, Pompey, and before Crassus wandered out in the desert, and I think got killed by, what was it, Syrians? I can't remember my Roman history, but the triumvirate of shows on the For Liberty Network coming this fall. We're getting closer. I sent a whole big, tons of like Amazon boxes full of like audio video equipment to the satellites, to the triumvirate, to Crassus and to Pompey. And just kidding. And boy, that's some Roman history nerd kind of stuff for you to talk like that. But I've crossed the Rubicon. And we're starting the For Liberty Network. It's going to be 3 shows, not just the Wake Up America show. We're going to have 2 news shows, Liberty Tonight and Culturama. I'm really excited about the new shows. It's because of people like you, Frickety, going over there and hooking us up at forlibertyshop.com. You've been able, your financial support of the Wake Up America show has enabled me to be able to invest in Newtown. Because let me be honest, buying 2 new studio kits was very expensive for these 2 new shows. So I just hope to God, please let them be successful. It's a tough business, man. But we are expanding For Liberty Network, and we're going to do it. We're going to produce all of our content for the network through our locals page at forliberty.locals.com. That's where you're going to be able to interact directly, not just with me, but with our new hosts for our show. And they've been posting over there. So you should go over and say hi to Daniela and to Brian and to King Libertarian and introduce yourself to them on our forliberty.locals.com network. The For Liberty Network, launching this fall with the new shows, is the hub of all of our content is going to be on that locals page. So if you're not a member yet, head over to forliberty.locals.com today at some point during the show or after the show, and make sure that you're signed up over there so you can get alerts and updates on the new network. I can't wait for you guys to see all the content that we're getting ready set for these shows. It's just going to look amazing, sound amazing, the same great quality that you get from the Wake Up America show for these 2 new shows. That's right, we're taking over your life. You have to watch our shows all day long. L-Dubs reminds me that Crassus was killed by the Parthians. Yes, the Parthians. Thank you for that. I remember that. The Syrians were like way before that, right? Captain Tight Pants decides to join us late.
How dare you?
Went to get his Thomas Paine killer coffee from the For Liberty shop, and his bean grinder fell apart. Had to rebuild it and glue it together before I brew my coffee. Have you ever had a situation where like you didn't have a grinder and all you had was coffee beans? One time I literally like mortar and pestled it, but when I would stab it with the pestle, like to crunch it, the beans would like jump out like Mexican jumping beans, and it was just, I don't know. I wanted coffee pretty damn bad. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. took a huge step in endorsing Donald Trump. Most of us have not experienced the thrill of running for president of the United States. I have. And I can tell you, I've seen these kinds of decisions happening in real time, up close and in person, such as the time that I asked John McAfee to step down once we realized he was in 3rd place for the nomination of the Libertarian Party in 2016 for president of the United States. I looked John McAfee in the face and I said, John, you could make me president of the United States. You need to come on board. Let's team up. You be my VP. And he said, no, Austin, we will win. We will win. And those are the final words he said before Gary Johnson took it all and defeated it. And this is just, I know that John McAfee would have preferred to have me as the candidate to Gary Johnson, but because he could not put his ego aside, it resulted in a worse outcome for our country. Well, maybe not, because if I had been the candidate in 2016, Hillary Clinton might have won president of the United States, and then you all would have really hated me. Yikes. Been good for me, bad for the country, right? Maybe. Who knows? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., though, he put his ego aside to support Donald Trump, and he sat down for an interview with Dr. Phil to talk about it.
We recognize from our polling is that if I stayed in the race, it would have almost certainly swung the race to Vice President Harris, who was trying to throw me off the ballot in all of the states, ironically. But I thought that would not be a good outcome for her, because I differ with her on all the issues, on the issues of war, on the issues of censorship, on the issues of chronic disease, and many, many other issues. I did not want to give the election. I didn't think it would be right to give the election to her. And our polling from the beginning showed pretty consistently that if I got out of the race, 57% of the people who were supporting me would vote for Trump. And so me staying in the race would have swung the race, very likely could have swung the race to Harris. And so just getting out of the race, I think, makes it a fair race between them. And then
well, you're double digits in some of these swing states.
Yeah, I am.
And if 57% of those people go to former President Trump, that's a real boost to him. That's a real boon to him.
Let me pause for just a moment, and I'll say this: that I have been shocked at the not the number of people who were Robert F. Kennedy Jr. supporters who have said that they're going to Trump, but I've actually been shocked by the caliber or the type of person who has told me that they will be voting for Donald Trump in this election. And the reason why I say that is there's this one person I'm thinking of in particular who has been one of the biggest, I would say, anti-Trumper, but maybe even really never Trumper person who was supporting Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but through the Democrats' collective actions and through Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s endorsement, this never Trumper contacted me yesterday, and it shocked me when he told me that he would be supporting Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, I won't say his name, but I will read to you his explanation for why he says that he's decided to get off of the fence and support Donald Trump. He says, "It's hard to believe for me. I expected some of my, quote, red lines would get crossed, but the Democrats managed to cross all of them. Price and rent controls, wealth tax, extreme pandering to unions, trying to dismantle free speech, looking to take down Elon and undermine SpaceX and Tesla, all with the media cheering for them. And that's without even going into all the woke insanity." My friend, former never Trumper, now coming over to the Donald Trump camp. And he's not the only one. There have been more people that I know of that have been staunch never Trumpers who would never had a nice thing to say about him, as people who denigrated me for speaking out in favor of Trump, old friends. And there are some people whose relationship with me has actually degraded because they called me a traitor and a sellout. And now they've actually come on board Donald Trump, which is just, I can't tell you how many times things like that have happened where I've gotten on an early train to something. Somebody called me out as a traitor or a sellout. And then a year later, they're like, "Oh, yeah, Austin, you're right about that," and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's what happens when you're in this for 20 years. Sidewalk closed. Actually, you were another example of someone that I was surprised over in the, I say sidewalk closed. He's one of our regulars over in the chat, and he's there with us live this morning. Said he too was a never Trumper, admittedly, and he came out with his post, I believe, due to the RFK sidewalk. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was due to the RFK Jr. endorsement that you as well came on board. This could be a game changer. Now, I will tell you this one caveat. Buyer beware, that I am not seeing good polling when it comes down to it. I am seeing a lot of polls where Donald Trump is losing, and some polls where he's even losing bad. Now, in many of these polls, there is within the margin of error, so I don't know that there's necessarily a reason to panic yet, but it's not so much the numbers that I'm concerned about, because we can't really speak affirmatively about numbers. The only poll that counts is the one on election day. But when I saw this story that was published, it was a poll from Fairleigh Dickinson University. It showed the reasons for why more people are supporting Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. And I think that you could probably guess what the reasons are. But when I read the poll and the study on it, at first I felt a little defeated, and then I just felt pissed, just angry, because for me, this is what Elon Musk is talking about, right? This is why they're trying to silence Elon Musk. It's because of things like this. So I'm going to read this to you here. I'll try and get through it quickly because it's kind of long. But here is the poll. Race and gender push Harris above Trump nationally. race considerations crater Trump support among non-white voters. In other words, when Joe Biden was the candidate versus Donald Trump, minorities, and we had been reporting on this quite a bit, minorities had been largely defecting to the Donald Trump camp. Now that they have a girl boss, half Indian, half black woman on the top of the ticket, it is because of her race and because of her gender that the support for Kamala Harris is surging. Right. So voters nationally give Vice President and Democratic nominee Kamala Harris an edge over former President Donald Trump in November's election by a 7-point margin, 50-43. But race and gender remain central to the vote. When voters are made to think about the race or gender of the candidates, Harris's lead grows substantially. When they're not, support is essentially tied. Harris is also helped by strong support among the slightly less than half of men who reject traditionally masculine identities. Good God.
I can first.
Trump's strongest support is among men who hold traditionally masculine identities, while women and other men strongly favor Harris. LW78, here to offer a little bit of a white pill with that, says that these polls are meant to black pill. So many specific polls need to be dissected because they're sneaky with improper oversampling and leading questions. Very true. Very true. I wonder what your thoughts are on that. Let's check the voice messages this morning, see if some, or excuse me, the text messages this morning, and see if anyone sent in a text. That's right. You can send in a text at 573-319-1586. Have you programmed that number into your phone just yet? That's what I recommend you do so that you can get in touch with AP and Steffi any time of day. 573-319-1586 is the text line. Type that into your phone. Make it AP for Liberty or Wake Up America so that you guys can get in touch with us anytime. Again, 573-319-1586 is the text line. If you're joining us over on X this morning at x.com, 605 of you are. What's up, peeps? How you doing, everybody? We're glad to have you guys here. If you'd like to be a part of the chat, right now, Rumble Studio doesn't integrate the chats from x.com. If you'd like to hang out with the chat over on Rumble and be a part of those people whose texts you're seeing in the top right-hand corner of your screen, then all you have to do is head over to rumble.com/AP4Liberty. That's rumble.com/AP4Liberty and join the live stream over at rumble.com so that you can participate in the live chat. It's a lively crew, and we'd love to have you be a regular guest. Hang out with us over there, and you'll be able to subscribe to the channel and find us more regularly if you subscribe to our Rumble chat at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. Race and gender pushing Harris above Trump nationally. Race considerations crater Trump support among non-white voters from a Fairleigh Dickinson University poll. Now, on the white pill side of things, you're right. This could be a bogus poll, and the way that they asked the question and the way that it's weighted absolutely will change outcomes. You have to be careful when you talk about polls. But the thing is that when it comes to race and gender, we cannot deny that Americans have become obsessed with race. They have become absolutely obsessed with race and with gender. And we could say all day long that this is, a conspiracy of the elites trying to divide us against one another. Certainly there is a strong argument for that to be said, but at some point you have to understand, I mean, you can fool the people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the times. Americans believe this shit. They believe it. They believe that race now is that your racial traits, which are intrinsic, will lead to intrinsic outcomes. And it reminds me a bit of a comedy sketch I saw a few years ago where they showed the racist with the wokies and how they agreed so much on so many issues, right? That your intrinsic nature and behavior is determined by your genetics, that your outcome is determined by your genetics. And this is not a conversation. I think the problem with this is that it leads directly to the type of evil that the left has been fighting a puppet representation of, but which can and does rear its ugly head in the United States, which is a fascism as a response to the leftist race communism. At the end of the day, there are more white people than any other racial minority. So racial minorities act in solidarity. They are brainwashed by the groupthink that comes out of leftist institutions, academia, Hollywood, and every other form of media. And then they act in lockstep in order to advance a leftist agenda advanced by people like leftist professors like Ibram Kendi and many others. Do you like the Wake Up America show? Are you enjoying these conversations? Click the like button. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what's happening. Quest Fanning says we need more whites for Donald Trump. Yes, we do. You can get white dudes for Donald Trump shirts at forlibertyshop.com. Let's continue to listen to Dr. Phil interviewing Robert F. Kennedy Jr., discussing his reasonings for pulling out of swing states and endorsing Donald Trump.
Trump, that's a real boost to him. That's a real boon to him.
It is. I think our decision, or my decision about what to do, I think it's much more likely that President Trump will get elected.
So you do acknowledge that?
Yes.
And you have enough that you agree with him on priority-wise that you're more comfortable with that than if it went the other way? Even though you've grown up
Even though I grew up in the Democratic Party, and I had the same kind of orientation towards abhorrence for, I'd say, President Trump as many Democrats, maybe 4 years ago, mainly because of his environmental stances, which I continue to disagree with. But my conversations with President Trump were very amiable, and he talked about starting a unity party, about President Lincoln and his team of rivals. And I could come in and support him because of these existential issues, censorship, war, chronic disease, that I feel strongly about, he feels strongly about, and that Kamala is on the wrong side.
I gotta say, I really really admire him for doing that. A lot of people are saying, well, what should Robert F. Kennedy Jr. be in charge? Some are saying, put him in charge of CIA. Absolutely not. Put him in charge of Health and Human Services. Definitely no. Put him in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency. Absolutely freaking not. No. Where should Robert F. Kennedy Jr. go if he does work for Trump? Anywhere that he cannot increase the size or scope of government. CNN is in full attack mode against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. After the endorsement.
I think this is one of the tackiest things I've seen in politics, and that's a very low bar. Because what we see is a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. who was basically bargaining to see who the highest bidder would be to get his endorsement, right? So what he's saying is that Donald Trump gave him a quid pro quo, is going to put him in his administration. Kamala Harris, rightly so, didn't give him the time of day. I think a campaign that's already wrestling with a label of weird, bringing in a guy who's had to deny that he ate a dog, who's told us he had a worm in his brain, and who stabbed a dead cub bear and then posted in Central Park. Man, talk about adding weird to weird.
Scott Jennings.
All right, kind of true. Let's be honest. RFK Jr., kind of weird. The bear stabbing, drop dead in Central Park stuff, pretty weird.
Is with us. RFK Jr., as you know, Scott, is a known conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer.
I think this is one of the tackiest.
Okay, yeah, but true.
Things I've seen in politics, and that's a very low bar. Because what we see is a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. who was basically bargaining to see who the highest bidder would be to get his endorsement, right? So,
oh, please, let's not pretend like the Democrats are above that kind of shit.
What he's saying is that Donald Trump gave him a quid pro quo, is going to put him in his administration. Kamala
Quest Fanning's taking off. See you later, Quest. Thanks so much for the donation early. Appreciate you, brother.
Harris, rightly so, didn't give him the time of day. I think a campaign that's already wrestling with a label of weird, bringing in a guy who's had to deny that he ate a dog.
Anna Navarro. Oh, God. Always a source of entertainment. Kamala Harris, what can we expect from her administration? Vowed to eliminate private health insurance.
So just to follow up on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, to reiterate, you support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. And you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Right. So I remember back in the day, and it's kind of like the capital gains, unrealized gains tax that they're saying, and it's like, oh, it's only going to affect people who make over $100 million a year. It's not going to affect you, right? Those are lies and bullshit. And back when Obamacare was being passed, if you like your health insurance plan, you can keep it. Those were lies and bullshit, because the Democratic Party has always been trying to move towards a communistic system, a socialistic system of single payer, meaning that the government should pay. I believe in single payer, but that means that the individual should pay. And if you want insurance, you can buy insurance, but mostly insurance is going to be used to pay for things like catastrophic coverage. And then, of course, it would be much cheaper because you wouldn't be forced, like me, to have to pay for people to get female surgeries done when I'm never going to have a female surgery done on myself, right? So it's makes no sense to have an insurance system set up right now the way that it is. Currently, the United States insurance system is among one of the worst in the United States. The medical system, the medical care that we have in the United States is the best in the world. The best in the world. No self-respecting leftist, which there are very few, but would deny that the United States health care system is the best in the world, if they're being honest with themselves. Most of them are communists marching in lockstep, and they say that the healthcare system is terrible because they're comparing it to the health insurance system and it's a myriad of payments, and they say it's terrible. No, the healthcare system in the United States, world class. Tin pot socialist dictators from around the world come to the United States for the health care because they know that it's the best health care in the world. That is the truth. But the left wants to replace the system with single payer and force every productive middle class person like you and I who pay our taxes to cover absolutely everything for everyone. It won't work. It will destroy our finances, and it'll destroy, of course, our healthcare system. And it'll be like our public education system. Look at how public education was before we had a federal takeover of it. We used to have the best education system in the world. Now we are not the best amongst all of the developed world nations of the world. Our education standards have slipped as the federal government has had a total takeover of our educational systems. So do you want to have that happen to our health care in the United States? Let people like Kamala Harris take it over and then see what happens.
Biden's weaknesses, according to these.
This was September of 2023. CNN does a segment on Kamala's unpopularity. Wow, things sure have changed.
Biden's weaknesses, according to these critics, is his number two, Vice President Kamala Harris. Her numbers aren't great either. A poll from over the summer showed half of voters have a negative view of Harris. That's one of the lowest ratings for that poll. And among Democrats, she is obviously more popular. But listen to former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi earlier tonight, right here on CNN.
Is Vice President Kamala Harris the best running mate for this president?
He thinks so, and that's what matters.
But do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much.
That's not exactly a loud endorsement.
You guys ready for some bonus content? Yeah. John Miltimore is joining us live in 5. The founder of Telegram app was arrested in France. What's happening there? We're going to talk about that when we get back, about the loss of free speech in the country. Thanks so much to Frickety, the Quest, and for Mighty Megatron for unlocking the bonus content today. We appreciate you guys. Love you. I'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Wake Up America show's bonus content. Today's news story revisits the attempted assassination of President Trump. Why is it that the would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks remains an infuriating enigma? 5 weeks have passed since Thomas Matthew Crooks attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump, and the public remains in the dark about his motives. The FBI and Congress have been investigating every facet of Crooks' life, both online and offline, trying to understand his actions. In his hometown of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, neighbors described the Crooks family as an enigma, with few people knowing anything about them. A 77-year-old neighbor, Karen, indicated that despite living on the same street, she hardly knew the Crooks family. Federal authorities raided the Crooks' home, seizing a laptop, 2 cell phones, and multiple hard drives and flash drives. The 4.5 terabytes of data recovered present a significant challenge for forensic teams, delaying definitive answers. Congressional hearings and FBI briefings have yet to provide satisfying answers about why Crooks targeted Trump. The slow pace of new information has been frustrating for Crooks' neighbors, who are desperate for answers. Neighbor Kelly Little stressed the importance of understanding Crooks' motivation, given the reality of domestic terrorism. The media and police presence has dwindled, leaving the neighborhood quiet but still uneasy about the lack of information. Crooks's parents have remained reclusive, adding to the mystery of whether they knew anything about their son's plans. Another neighbor questioned how Crooks' parents could have been unaware of his intentions, adding to the community's frustration. Some neighbors believe Crooks didn't act alone, contradicting FBI and Secret Service statements. Repeater Mike Waltz and other GOP members are unsatisfied with the progress and transparency of the investigation. Sen. Chuck Grassley criticized the FBI for not providing real insights into Crooks's motivations. Senator Ron Johnson accused the FBI and Secret Service of stonewalling the Senate probe by providing redacted documents. Despite extensive scrutiny, investigators have found no definitive social media profiles or clear political leanings for Crooks, leaving his motives a mystery.
Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Yeah, the 4 Liberty Network, the brand new network that I just launched, where 2 new shows will be coming this fall. We're growing, we're moving, we're shaking. 2 brand new podcasts coming this fall. Culturama, starring Daniela Pensack, and Liberty Tonight, starring Brian Piotr and King Libertarian. You're not going to be able to take your eyes away from all the content we're going to be producing. I'm so excited. Thank you guys to all your financial contributions, all of your monthly subscriptions, all of your Rumble rants, all of your purchases of the merch shop to help us make this expansion. 2-year anniversary coming up here on the Wake Up America show starting in September. So just next week, we can say 2 damn years I've been doing this show 5 days a week in the mornings. And it's been beautiful. And the only way I've been able to continue to do it in the hard days, the difficult days, is to get through it is because of the support of people like you. So thank you guys. Making my dreams come true and helping me support my beautiful family. My beautiful family. I'm fighting for their free speech as well. When you see stories like my next one, you'll want to get in the fight just like us. Mondays, we say, John Miltimore, will you please join us on the set? John Miltimore from the American Institute of Economic Research joining us live this morning for his regular Monday with Miltimore. I got a nice compliment, John, about you and about your segments on YouTube the other day. Somebody said, boy, they really enjoy Mondays with Miltimore because of the back and forth that we have where we kind of, just kind of check each other and like little mini debates and stuff. And it's a good rapport. So kudos to you, John, and we appreciate you getting up early and joining us.
Well, kudos to you as well, because we've known each other, Austin, long enough now where I think we can have those discussions. It's always, like if you go on to some program you don't know anyone, it's more difficult, right? But we know we can kind of push each other and challenge each other a little little bit and nobody gets bent out of shape about it. And that's a good thing.
Right, but we broadly agree on the future that the United States Republic should engage in, right? More small R Republican, limited government, free market, constitutional position. So we stand together, united on the big picture things, and we can quibble about some small things while we're all still pulling in the same direction. When I see stories like this Telegram founder being arrested in France, of all places, for very murky and mysterious reasons. That kind of story makes my blood run cold, John, especially because while I may not be some billionaire founder of an app, if they can do it to somebody like him, black bag him and disappear him in a European country, I mean, one, they could do it to any of us. Two, makes me really not want to go visit the continent ever.
Yeah, no, it scares the hell out of me when I see stuff like this. And you know, I'm going to preface all my comments with we don't know a whole lot yet beyond, you know, the very high level details. He's arrested in France. He's accused of, you know, allowing certain things on his platform that the state said he shouldn't. Now we're seeing U.S., you know, officials will say that are dropping hints that he's a Russian asset and things like this. So all of that preface that we don't know things, to me, I do see the U.S. government's fingerprints all over this. And I think what we're doing is it's this, we're using Europe to sort of outsource censorship because U.S. officials know that they can't put you in jail here for what you say, right? Or what you allow it said on your platform, or, you know, we have vigorous, you know, First Amendment protections here that make it very difficult. Europe doesn't have those. And we're seeing right now efforts by countries, you know, whether it's France, the UK, Germany, where they will put you in jail. They will charge you. They will do all these things to you for things you say on Facebook or something that you allow, you know, on your company's app. And to me, this is incredibly dangerous. You know, they can say, oh, well, we got to protect people from misinformation. I do not believe for a minute that their concern is protecting people from misinformation. This is how they will control people. This is how they will control elections. They don't believe that people have the right to free speech and to free discourse and to put anything they want on the web and you know, challenge one another. They want to control that. We saw this from the Twitter files, right? This is why the FBI was so closely involved with Twitter. They could say, well, we should probably, they can, you know, pull this level and change that dial, and they can control conversations and scare people. This is chilling stuff.
John, on those same lines, vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, it was on MSNBC the other day, and he said, quote, that there is no guarantee of free speech when it comes to disinformation, especially surrounding our democracy. That man could be very soon a heartbeat away from being president of the United States. How does that make you feel?
Let me just say, I applaud Tim Walz for his candor. He's saying what he believes. I think what he's saying is absolute trash, but it lets voters know where he stands and where the Kamala Harris administration will stand on free speech. If nothing else, voters can look at this and say, boy, you know, we have, you know, RFK Jr. on Friday came out and, you know, withdrew from the race and endorsed Trump. And you have people that are saying, no, free speech matters. Giving people the right to speak matters. And somebody say, well, that first, you know, like free speech, you know, that right isn't absolute. They're telling you what they'll do if they are in power. And to me, if nothing else, we can at least applaud Walz for his candor. Like I said, he's telling you what they want to do. They're going to use these same things where they leverage, they lean on companies, where every tool in their toolbox they will use to control speech instead of letting Americans talk about important ideas.
John, I don't want to completely go on a tangent. I want to stick on the free speech thing to some extent. But I mean, RFK Jr., one of those people who has really suffered from attacks on his free speech. I'm very curious your thoughts on his endorsement of Donald Trump for president of the United States.
Yeah, I was, you know, disappointed that he withdrew from the race, but I understand it. And I really think RFK Jr. is doing what he believes is best for the country. Maybe he could have tried to build a movement. He could have, made this about him. I think he's doing what he thinks is the right thing. And like I told, several people asked me, like, will this have a meaningful impact on the election? And I said, I think it's going to have a very small impact. But this is going to be a very close election, so it could end up being what gets Trump, over that hump. I think it is going to make independents. It's going to increase, votes for Trump as far as independents go. But there's a lot of time between now and November. I think this will not be the last surprise we see.
John Steffi over in the chat says, "Hey, John, good morning."
Well, good morning back, Steffi.
Glad to have you with us, Stephanie Peterson. People who are censored, the most censored people on the planet, people like Alex Jones, people like Andrew Tate, people like Jordan Peterson, people like Elon Musk, a European Union regulator warned Elon Musk that he has to follow their censorship rules when it comes to Elon Musk talking to Donald Trump, President of the United States. Do you think that they would have done something like that if he was speaking to Kamala Harris or to anyone else?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we can kind of see, you can speculate all you want, and people say, well, we don't know that, and we don't know that. But clearly, like this is they look at this as a threat, and you have people on Twitter like Vindman saying, oh, this is directed right at Elon Musk. This is a warning to him.
Who's Vindman, for our audience sake?
Oh, I forget. Was it Alex Vindman? Like he was the U.S. Army. I forget if he was a colonel, but the whistleblower who tried to get Trump impeached. And Vindman is very much a creature of the swamp. And it's funny. That guy blocked me, and I have no idea why. I've earned a block or two in my time. I used to give Kinzinger a hard time over free speech because he was always saying we need to fight misinformation, and I would just go and post. Kinzinger was sharing the war propaganda that about the ghost of Kiev, and he got duped by a meme. It was saying, a really bad meme duped Kinzinger. So I would kind of razz him. I said, well, if we're going to fight misinformation, we might have to start with this. But at least I earned that block from Kinzinger, who finally, did. I have no idea what I did to Vindman. I think he's a very sensitive guy. But it's really like he is this swamp creature who he's almost like a character out of a Hollywood 80s movie that there's no civil liberty he won't crush to keep the U.S. people safe.
Right.
And to me, he's frightening. And he drew a line and said, "Watch out, Elon Musk." Musk is big. I don't know if they can try something like this with Elon Musk. But who knows?
Well, that's the thing is that they did it. They did it to the Telegram founder. Why wouldn't they do it to Elon Musk? Right. And it's like, it's scary stuff, John. I mean, when the United Kingdom threatened to extradite American citizens, we all laughed and kind of memed about it. We were joking about, if you violate a hate crime law in the United Kingdom, that they would extradite you and arrest you. And we do have extradition treaties with the UK. I highly doubt that the American government would do it, but who knows, right? When you hear people like Tim Walz, the potential vice president, saying things like there's no free speech restriction when it comes to disinformation against our democracy, I could absolutely see the Democrats turning American citizens over to foreign governments for things like that if we had people like Tim Walz in control. Do you think I'm being hyperbolic here?
No, I don't. And let me give you an example. We have just ask Julian Assange if you think the U.S. government means business or not. Now, I'm aware that Assange wasn't a U.S. citizen, but that didn't stop the Justice Department for years and years and years from trying to extradite him. And for what? For sharing a YouTube video that showed the U.S. government committing what, in my opinion, looks like war crimes, right? We can all watch that collateral murder video and decide for ourselves, well, was this intentional? But we know Reuters journalists were killed in that. The government tried to hide it up, and Assange is like, no. And he got the goods, he shared it, and they made his life a living hell for the next decade plus.
Not to be too morbid or tangent too much, John, but if for the last 5 to 7 years, conservative right wingers and libertarians have all been telling us that we don't hate the media enough. So maybe 15 years ago, we would look at the Reuters journalists being attack helicoptered and feel bad for them and say it's a war crime. But I think now, knowing how the media is, maybe we should turn it around and say we didn't enjoy watching them get obliterated by an attack copter enough.
You know, no, I'd never say that, but partly for this reason. Those Reuters journalists, they're not the Oliver Darcy's or the
Yes,
take
they
the
are.
partisan journalists.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. That is completely
I really
not
don't
true.
think they were. But
Yeah,
all
they
of that
were.
said, I'd never wish it on them, and like it's one of those things. And I don't think the government did that even intentionally.
I wouldn't wish it on him. I would not wish it on him, but I do hate the media. And in some sense, when you hear all of the rhetoric that people are using against journalists, we don't hate them enough. One would then consider why the outrage over watching them get a few rounds of 10 millimeter to the head.
I'll tell you, like, and for one, I don't even think they were U.S. journalists. I think they were more like foreign, like people that were working on
Probably even worse then
of these. But I think a lot of these people, like to me, I always looked at it as very heroic. These journalists that went, to war fronts to report, and there is people historically who've done wonderful work. And exposed important things
historically, but historically was the important word. They used to do wonderful work, and now it's propaganda. You can't even read the Associated Press anymore, John, without it being an attack hit piece on the left. You're in the media. You read this stuff all the time. The Wall Street Journal, I can only trust them maybe like 5 to 15% of the time.
No, there is a lot that you look at, and once you start to see it, like you realize like this is propaganda. Like all these stories are coming through, bureaucracies now instead of actual, hard reporting. And it is chilling. And but all that said, like I think to what we were talking about, if you look what the U.S. government did to Assange, yes, they mean business, and they will do what they feel they have to protect their secrets, and to get what they want. And like the good thing is this is happening in August. This is giving voters a clear idea of what these parties stand for, what these candidates stand for. And I think I just hope that they're looking at this and considering these things as they head to the ballot box.
I completely agree. John Miltimore live on the show from the American Institute of Economic Research, AIER. AIER. You can find AIER.org on any web browser. Open up Netscape and get yourself some AIER action. I didn't see any articles over there from John Miltimore. I miss my weekly pieces from you, John. Are you going to start writing again soon?
Hey, I did have a piece out last week, but I published it in the Examiner on Kamala Harris, her price controls, which she's taking the Nixon strategy. Nixon knew his price controls would not work. And we have the Nixon tapes, and he knew it, but he did it anyway because he thought it was going to help him politically. And I think it did, which is kind of scary. But no, to your question, I have one piece. It's a big piece that I spent a lot of time working on last week, and it is on somebody you just talked about, Tim Walz. His snitch line. We had one in Minnesota, and we have documents from it, and I think there's a big story there, and I'll be publishing that this week. I haven't figured out exactly where, if it's on AIER yet or somewhere else, but it's a good story, and I think it's a story Americans need to hear. It's not about whether or not you should vote for Walz. It's about what government should be doing and should not be doing during panics like this. And that snitch line is pretty terrifying. And you saw it really did bring out the worst in human beings during that period.
John, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are a Minnesotan, are you not?
I am. Yeah.
So you've got his number.
Policies firsthand. Yep. So yeah, I think it's a story that has not gotten nearly enough attention. And I can't say about other states, but in Minnesota, like those emails are now public. And I spent a great deal of time going through them, and they tell a pretty remarkable but chilling story about what about that period and what Minnesotans were willing to do to turn one another into their government.
Well, yeah, it happened here in Missouri too, but not for very long, because as soon as people realized that the snitch list, if you will, is able to be accessed through a sunshine request. They had to shut that down pretty damn quick. I had so much fun because I got some of the access to some of the reports of the neighbors that they had made on one another, and I started calling out people in our community. I mean, our phone lines lit up so quick on the radio, you would not believe it. They were people who were begging me, John, not to read the neighbors who had, of course, it was the people who had been the snitches, right? Not to see, but I mean, the people who got reported on finally knew which one of their neighbors had, pulled the ultimate Karen move on them and reported them to the government. It's not hyperbolic, John, for us to make comparisons to the Stasi of East Germany when there's a great movie, I think, from the 1980s. It's called The Lives of Other People. And
The Lives of Others.
The Lives of Others. And
it's not 80s. It's probably more like 2005, 2006. Wonderful movie.
I thought it was like a much earlier film. The Lives of Others documents the history of East Germany under the Soviet communist rule and the puppet government that was set up after World War II, and how neighbors they loved reporting on neighbors. Like, think about all of the bitches that you've known in your life that just love to tattletale and that just love to get other people in trouble. And like, most people, I think, have not matured beyond high school. Many people haven't matured since grade school. John, they're sort of stuck in that perpetual loop of like wanting to be teachers' pets, ass kissers, right? To get on the good side of the local government or just anybody who is in power, so that if they feel like they have some information that might ingratiate themselves with someone of local repute, right, whether it be ill or positive, then people will line up to rat out their neighbors. This absolutely can happen here because it has happened here, hasn't it, John?
No, you hit it on the head, and that's really what stood out to me is how petty so much of this really was. And you saw people like, they're playing pickleball, right? Like, they're outside playing pickleball, or there's kids at the park, or they're gonna have a church service, and these were just people that they were miserable themselves, and they were gonna make sure others were miserable too. And it was just really awful stuff. And Wallace went out and defended that for the greater good and said you're doing this for their own good. And it took heat for it, quietly rescinded the policy, which did nothing to save people, by the way. It didn't do anything except turn Minnesotans against each other or Missourians against each other, where it was being done. I think it's important that we not let people forget that stuff. Like, it feels like it's ancient history now, right? It was 4 years ago. We can't forget because given power, given circumstance, we'll find ourselves right back in a similar position. But let's hope not. I don't want to go through that again.
John, if you are looking at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his decision to vote for Donald Trump, as independent as he is, and as much as he does not agree with Donald Trump on the issues, could someone like yourself do the same? Do you think you could vote for Donald Trump this fall after seeing what RFK did?
I knew you were going to ask me. You were going to put me on the spot. Does it change things? Yeah, because the guy that I was going to vote for now is endorsing a different guy. So does it change it? Yeah. Will that mean I vote for Trump? I'm not going to say that because, like I said, I spent the last 2 years saying I'm not going to vote for the guy for reasons I've explained. And I don't want to be, I kind of want to be honest to myself as well. So I'm not going to say I am voting for him.
Be a lot cooler if you did, John. Be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, no, it has crossed my mind, and I've thought about it, and yeah, I will say the stuff we're seeing now, I might have to put my own pride aside, because when we see billionaire CEOs arrested in France because they're being accused of allowing hate speech on a platform, they're being accused of not following the rules of the security state. That stuff, like I said, scares the hell out of me, and it's serious business.
John Miltimore from the American Institute for Economic Research for Mondays with Miltimore. Forsooth, I telleth thee, John Miltimore. He has a regular spot, and he's been with us pretty much almost the entire 2 years. Almost every single Monday, he has been with us, helping to contribute to the Wake Up America show's success. Thank you, John.
Hey, no, thanks for having me, Austin. I've enjoyed being on every show with you, and I'm just happy to see how much success you're having. So great.
John, is there anything else you want to share or plug before we let you go, brother?
No, just check out my Substack. It's The Take by John Miltimore, and I publish there a lot. So if you're not subscribing, go check it out.
All right, John Miltimore. You can also follow him over on X at Miltimore79. That's at Miltimore, Miltimore. We want some more Miltimore. Mondays with Miltimore is where you get it. Thanks, John. See you later, brother.
Hey, you take care. If you have a good one.
Take care. Always a fun conversation. We appreciate John for being such a good sport and for sticking with us so often on Monday mornings. That is John Miltimore. Milton. Give me more. Give me more. Jimmy more. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more.
One of the programs that she started on truancy, which is what a lot of people have been hitting my Twitter feed about, how, you know, that program, from their criticism is it separated black children from their families. She talks about the fact that, you know, yeah, there were a lot of tough decisions that were made, but I stand by them. She's going to have to talk about that more fully. Kamala Harris never sent parents to jail for their kids' truancy. One of the programs that she started on truancy.
That's fantastic. If you'll notice the date, 2019 from 2024. What a change of heart. Kamala Harris never felt the way that we said that she felt in 2019. She never believed the things that she believed when we reported that in 2019. Watch the media gaslight again. Now that you know what they're doing, what's happening in this clip, watch and listen here to this anchor, the same anchor from 2019 to 2024. This is the official gaslight.
One of the programs that she started on truancy, which is what a lot of people have been hitting my Twitter feed about, how, you know, that program, from their criticism is it separated black children from their families. She talks about the fact that, you know, yeah, there were a lot of tough decisions that were made, but I stand by them. She's going to have to talk about that more fully. Kamala Harris never sent parents to jail for their kids' truancy. One of the programs.
Never sent parents to jail for their truancy. Here's another clip that's pretty wild. During the riots of 2020, Kamala was on The View talking about defunding the police. Boy, she sure has backed off of that one pretty damn quick.
We have confused the idea that to achieve safety, you put more cops on the street, instead of understanding to achieve safe and healthy communities, you put more resources into the public education system of those communities, into affordable housing, into home ownership, into access to capital for small businesses, access to health care regardless of how much money people have. That's how you achieve safe and healthy communities.
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police?
Well, I'm not for anything remotely for that, so I would ask the protesters the same thing. But I assume I assume, and again, this is something that is new to me, I assume it's removing police, and as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said, bringing in a whole new way of governing and a law and order into a community. And my understanding, again, this is something that has just come into my understanding recently, is that you would not have police officers, like this Minneapolis City Councilwoman said, that I would be a place of privilege if someone broke into my home and I wanted to call the police.
So, again, we need to reimagine how we are achieving public safety in America. And to have cities where 1/3 of their entire budget is going to policing, but yet there is a dire need in those same cities for mental health resources, for resources going into public schools, resources going into job training and job creation. Come on, we have to be honest about this, that there is actually not a consensus around this, because if there were, we would actually see smarter distribution of resources in our country to address the issues that need to be addressed. Yes.
We will have plenty of cops to go after their political opponents, though. You can bet on that.
Senator, this is Sunny, and I think
this is your biggest propagandist here on the show.
Just to add to the conversation, defunding the police doesn't mean abolishing the police. It means taking some of those funds that are typically 1/3 of the budget of a city and giving some of those funds to services like mental health and education and mental health resources. But I want to change the subject and ask another question.
Thank you for defining that for her.
Joe Biden has already committed to...
Don't you love it when the interviewer defines something for the person that they're in, for the politician that they're interviewing, for the purpose of protecting them, to ensure that the interview goes smoothly for them? That's what Sunny Hostin just did. She did that in order to deflect any potential criticism. Didn't even have to have Kamala Harris agree with her. She didn't agree with her, but she went ahead and just posted that out there as if that was her position. That's what it is,
choosing a
right?
female
Joni Rankin with the LOL face says she's just recapping. Yes, she's just recapping.
running mate. Given the current climate, it occurs to me that Biden must also choose a Black woman as his running mate to energize the base, to show his commitment to the community, someone who is representative of the community affected and protesting in large part because of the issues. Do you agree with that?
I want Joe Biden to make
yes
a
or no,
decision.
'cause we're out of time.
Okay. It's not that simple. I just want him to win.
Good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. How's everybody doing today? Monday. Ba-da, ba-da-da-da. Can't trust that day.
I have concerns with allocating more funds to...
You can't trust that day unless you're watching the Wake Up America show. You can't watch the Wake Up America show if you're not at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. Actually, you can watch it because we've got like 800 people watching us over on X this morning. Oops. But it's better on Rumble. Rumble.com/AP for Liberty. If you're over on X.com, as many hundreds of you are, then hang out with us over on X. It's way more fun. You get to talk to people like Mighty Megatron, Whitey White 14, Fook, Brandon Meyer, Joni Rankin, and a million other cool folks like Tully 1982, D Shep 311, and all of our other friends. John Rail over at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. You can text the show. You see that phone number at the bottom of the screen? It's 573-319-1586. We did get some text messages this morning. One listener texted in because we were talking a little bit earlier about gender and racial support for Kamala Harris, and they posted an article from NBC that said Black men shift slightly towards Trump in record numbers. Polls show. I'd like to see the date on that story, but it said Black women stay Democrat, Black men go Trump. I'd like to get some more data on that poll that you sent over to me from our friends over at Whiteout Termite and Pest Control. Look at that. Free advertisement just for texting the show. One listener texted in this morning and said that, hey, it's at Ron Paul Told Us. Good morning, Ron Paul Told Us. I think that's our X account. Just want to say I love your show and appreciate its early morning. As someone who works out at 0500, works at 0500, there's never any good content for me in the mornings outside of AP for Liberty. Yeah, Mo State or no state. That's right. We be from Missouri up in this house, in his house. We do stream this show live from Jefferson City, Missouri, the capital of Missouri, heart of America. And if you're enjoying this show and you want to hang out with us like at Ron Paul Told Us in the mornings on the regs, then Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time is the show's schedule. It's a 2-hour live stream. We have tons of awesome guests. The content is the best. We get you the best clips of what's happening in the world. You're informed. You're having a good time. You're being entertained. You're making friends. And, it's just a great place for you to be with us in the morning and then start your day in a good mood because we like to goof around too. We like to make jokes. Come out to the Missouri River Coast. We'll have a few laughs. What do you say? We'll get together, right? Send us a text like our friend Ron Paul Told Us did again at 573-319-1586. Sidewalk Closed, their username, did send me a text this morning as well. And he said that the reason that he came over with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is because the left must be defeated at all cost. Trump provides an avenue to defeat the leftists who are the biggest threat to America. Yes. Steve's Pest Control. Clementine Diug this morning joining us live remembers the days, the old Steve's Pest Control commercials. Yes, it used to be much more of a Jefferson City-centric style of show. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. I'm communicating with my staffer right now about something for the stream. Give me just 2 seconds. Elevator music. Tell you what, let's do this. I'll take a quick little break. Go to the bonus content. Enjoy the bonus content. When we get back, we're going to talk about obesity in America, fattest states, and around the world. As someone who is a former fat guy, now becoming stronger and stronger as every day goes by, as I lift my daughter above my head, I feel qualified to discuss fat guys. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Wake Up America show's bonus content. Today's news story revisits the attempted assassination of President Trump. Why is it that the would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks remains an infuriating enigma? 5 weeks have passed since Thomas Matthew Crooks attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump, and the public remains in the dark about his motives. The FBI and Congress have been investigating every facet of Crooks' life, both online and offline, trying to understand his actions. In his hometown of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, neighbors described the Crooks family as an enigma, with few people knowing anything about them. A 77-year-old neighbor, Karen, indicated that despite living on the same street, she hardly knew the Crooks family. Federal authorities raided the Crooks' home, seizing a laptop, 2 cell phones, and multiple hard drives and flash drives. The 4.5 terabytes of data recovered present a significant challenge for forensic teams, delaying definitive answers. Congressional hearings and FBI briefings have yet to provide satisfying answers about why Crooks targeted Trump. The slow pace of new information has been frustrating for Crooks' neighbors, who are desperate for answers. Neighbor Kelly Little stressed the importance of understanding Crooks' motivation, given the reality of domestic terrorism. The media and police presence has dwindled, leaving the neighborhood quiet but still uneasy about the lack of information. Crooks's parents have remained reclusive, adding to the mystery of whether they knew anything about their son's plans. Another neighbor questioned how Crooks' parents could have been unaware of his intentions, adding to the community's frustration. Some neighbors believe Crooks didn't act alone, contradicting FBI and Secret Service statements. Reviewer Mike Waltz and other GOP members are unsatisfied with the progress and transparency of the investigation. Sen. Chuck Grassley criticized the FBI for not providing real insights into Crooks's motivations. Senator Ron Johnson accused the FBI and Secret Service of stonewalling the Senate probe by providing redacted documents. Despite extensive scrutiny, investigators have found no definitive social media profiles or clear political leanings for Crooks, leaving his motives a mystery.
Guys, thanks for sticking around. I had to go do something real quick. Essentially the real quick, just, boring strategy stuff. So in order to try and boost the Wake Up America show's audience, we've been experimenting with ads over on x.com. And this morning we're having a little bit of trouble with it, and my staffer wasn't able to assist me just right at this moment. So I had to head over there and just set up an ad real quick so we can try and boost those numbers, get us out in more people's feeds. Just a little strategy, right? Put a little bit of advertising dollars behind the show, try and grow it, things like that. It's been paying off. Kind of hit or miss, but mostly hit for the most part. So we hope that we can build a bigger audience over on x.com. Elon does say that it's going to be the everything app one day. So who knows? I'm hoping that one day the Wake Up America show is going to be huge on Rumble and on X, and we're well on our way to something like that. Especially thanks to people like you who click the like button, right? Okay. Why do you laugh at me, clown? You haven't clicked the like button? Why? Very sad. I'm looking over at my follower count over on x.com. It's 99,700 followers. Oh my God. Everybody panic. Almost 100K. What should I do when I hit 100,000 followers over on X.com? I feel like I need to do something special. Maybe like an extra special bonus stream or something like that. Have a little party. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a little like ice cream cake or something like that. Do you guys want to do something like that? If we do, we should probably host it on X. I don't know. I'm just going to feel really proud and happy because, I don't have the luxury of being a beautiful woman with big old boobies. And I've been suppressed on so many social media platforms for so long that I feel like crossing 100K over on X.com as a dude, it really is a big milestone. So I've been putting a little bit of advertising budget behind the Wake Up America show in the mornings over there, just to experiment to see if that helps us grow. We do have 987 people joining us over on X.com who didn't get here because we advertised, because the advertisement didn't run. And good morning to all of you guys. If you're a big fan of Elon Musk, you know what you need to do? Click that repost button underneath the stream. You'll have to click on the stream in order to share it, but share us with your friends. It's totally free and it helps us to get out on more people's feeds. Click that repost button and the little heart button next to it to help us to get out there more organically. The Wake Up America show is a fledgling project of that was started by me and my wife in our basement, in our shop with a little 3D printer, selling 3D printed Buddhas off of my 3D printer to start the shop. And now here we are 2 years later, and we've got a whole gigantic patriotic superstore online. And we've also got a 3-show network happening right now. So 2 years, I've been very productive. And I'm getting ready to cross 100,000 on X. My wife, Stephanie, and I are very grateful to you. And of course, our staffer, who shall remain nameless at this time, says thank you as well. I've been able to create a job thanks to people like you. I'd like to create more jobs. As a matter of fact, one day I'm already starting to scheme and plan. I'm starting to think about what can I do to sort of widen the profit margin over at For Liberty Shop. We produce so many t-shirts and so much stuff, but frankly, we lose a lot of the profit to the print-on-demand way that we produce our products. And I know that we can make more if we produce more in-house. So that might be the kind of thing that we go to someday. But do I really want to run t-shirt printers? Maybe. It's a difficult question. But how we expand in some ways, I don't know just yet. But how do we expand when it comes to the content that we produce? We have 2 new shows coming this fall, Culturama and Liberty Tonight. And it's so much fun producing the themes and the logos and the graphics for them. The new Culturama logo just dropped. You should follow them over on X.com. The Liberty Tonight Rumble as well. They don't really have a populated account just yet. So let me just show you real quick how you can find them. If you go to rumble.com/Culturama, that'll take you to the Culturama page. And let me see if I can pull it up on the screen for you here real quick. Rumble.com/Culturama. There it is. Yeah, so you'll be able to find Daniela Pensac's new show, Culturama, at rumble.com/Culturama. It looks like the screen is kind of blocking it, but there is a really neat logo. Let me see if it's possible for me to kind of fix that for you guys so you can see the logo. There we go. Sweet. Check that out. So there's the new logo for Culturama, which is you can see Daniela in her spacesuit surrounded by the sign symbol for the atom and the Culturama logo. So it's kind of neat there. Very 1950s retro. So go follow the Culturama podcast over on Rumble. And then, of course, we have Liberty Tonight as well. Liberty Tonight, Rumble. Sorry to do all this in real time, guys. I know that's kind of unprofessional looking. But if you go to rumble.com/Liberty Tonight, again, they're not all filled out just yet, but go ahead and give them a follow. And then that way, once everything's filled out, you guys will be able to see the new shows when they come this fall as part of the For Liberty Network. I think I can pull up Daniela's beautiful new logos. This is the concept, the theme. You could get a little behind the scenes stuff. This is what I use to make all of our graphics and logos. Check out this little beautiful Do It For Her. We're working on a new poster because she's going to have her own merchandise collection. So will Liberty Tonight. Do It For Her. And that's Daniela. That's like a space girl with a space gun, which is pretty awesome. But I really like this atomic symbol logo that we're working on here for the channel. As you can see, Culturama, taking back tomorrow today is her slogan. Pretty cool, huh? Taking Back Tomorrow Today, which I think is a really neat logo. And here you got Daniela with her spacesuit. Culturama, Taking Back Tomorrow Today. And then we've got, again, Liberty Tonight. You guys are excited for the new For Liberty Show network? Good. Well, I'm really happy to be a part of this. This is going to be a big part of what I hope will be our long-term strategy to really monetize to the max, and then we'll be able to just basically take over the libertarian content production network. We're going to be able to do. I hope that basically the For Liberty Network becomes kind of what Reason Magazine used to be to some extent. We'll have more documentaries, we'll have more interviews, we'll just have, an army of young people and some, of course, brilliant old people as well. We're not going to be practicing ageism here. A lot of active people who are out there doing man on the street interviews and things like that as part of the For Liberty Network. Mapped countries with the highest adult obesity rates. There we are. Between 1990 and 2022, worldwide adult obesity rates more than tripled from 5% to nearly 16% of the global adult population. God, it's so easy to overeat, guys. It's so easy. We map and rank the countries with the highest adult obesity rates measured through the BMI, which we know is absolutely flawed, but is still one of the measures that we have to try and get a feeling for. Now, when it comes to the percentage of obese adults, the United States is not number one. Isn't that nice? Cecilia is excited for the merch for the new shows. Yeah, that logo, pretty awesome. Like, I would definitely wear that shirt with a logo that says Culturama on it with little Danielle in her cute little spacesuit. Isn't that fun, Cecilia? You guys are going to love it. And Liberty Tonight, they're going to have awesome merch as well. They're going to have a really great fun show. I have the guys working on doing some comedic improv timing and playing some comedy sports to work on their comedic timing. And they're going to give you guys great interviews, and they're going to give you another great show as well. So it's just very exciting to be a part of this project. And I'm glad you guys are part of it as well. So it's nice to see that the United States isn't the fattest in the world. So whenever you see some stinking European with their stinking European opinions and their hairy armpits on chicas, number one, remember, Tonga is the fattest country in the world. Oh, Fook says, Samoans have hereditary fatness. That's different. Oh, so we're not fat, we're big boned. Sure, yeah. I've heard that one before. Nauru, Cook Islands, Niue, Tuvalu. I feel like you could make a really good song with that name. Tuvalu. The cockatoo from Tuvalu. There you go, see? He's a cockatoo from Tuvalu. Samoa is number 6, so you can shut up about Samoans and their genetic hereditary. Bahamas, drinking too many Mai Tais. Micronesia, Kiribati, Boyakasha. Marshall Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Butthead. Egypt, Qatar, Belize. Number 15, United States. Nice job, Americans. You are not the fattest. Joni Rankin says that the U.S. just has thyroid problems. Very good. Poor food habits are a factor in Egypt. High food inflation has pushed residents to low-cost, high-calorie meals to combat food insecurity. Not sure I believe that, because do you know that it's really cheap to just buy and eat, for example, an apple? If you take an apple and you take a couple of tablespoons of peanut butter and smear it on that apple, you have yourself a complete meal, right? If you eat, what I do is I eat oatmeal every single morning. And I know that some people aren't going to be able to do that. They need variety. I'm a very big variety guy. But when it comes to my dinners, I need variety. But for breakfast in the morning, you eat a bowl of oatmeal, you get all the energy that you need. I can do a 2-hour action-packed live stream every single morning because I have 2 things. I have my oatmeal and I have my Founding Flavors coffee from forlibertyshop.com. But what they're saying is people are like, oh, well, they're going to these cheap fast food chains and all this kind of stuff. No, they're doing that because it tastes good and it makes them feel good because it's full of sugars and fats. It's not cheap. It's a lot cheaper in other countries, I'm sure. But here in the United States, it's no longer the cheap option. There are many times when really good restaurants and diners and cafes, that Stephanie and I will go to here in our hometown of Jefferson City, it will be cheaper than going to a fast food restaurant. Hands down, we would spend more at the fast food restaurant than we do at like a diner or a local hotspot. So if you eat an apple, if you eat an orange, if you eat oatmeal, if you eat cottage cheese, you will lose weight, right? Just fruits and vegetables, lots of meat. The more protein you can get, the better. And one of the things that I've been doing is, this is expensive, is beef jerky, right? If you can make your own or make some venison jerky, that is going to help you. But honestly, I've found that beef jerky is a really good way to assuage your hunger and get you protein, because one of the things I've learned in like my years of dieting, the hardest thing often is just to get good protein. It's really hard to get good protein in your daily diet. You would think, oh, well, I'm a carnivore and I eat lots of meat and all that stuff. You may think that you may be eating a lot of meat, but you might just be eating a lot of fat. And those calories aren't necessarily, fat calories aren't going to make you feel as full as those hard protein calories that you're going to get from lean meat. What I have learned in my understanding of superfoods, the number one best meat that you can eat is fish. If you can get a good fish in your diet, then you're going to get not only healthy protein, but you're going to get low calories as well. And I believe that actually shrimp comes in at number one as the best protein that you can get that is healthy. Obviously, it is expensive, right? You can't just eat a bunch of fried shrimp and in a shrimp basket and think that you're going to get those kinds of results, because there's going to be a lot of oil and fat and grease and, of course, carbs in the breading, right? It tastes delicious. But if you can eat, what I like to do is do the Zatarain's crab boil or the Old Bay seasoning on the shrimp, maybe do a shrimp scampi, something like that. But shrimp, fish, right? I told you I had the imitation crab meat with Stephanie this weekend. That's actually just fish, pollock, and the calories on something like that are very low. But that's good protein as well. So fish, any kind of seafood is going to be a protein for you that's really going to be healthy, that's going to help you feel full, and that's going to keep your calories low. But yes, actual protein. You may think, oh, I'm going to eat a double cheeseburger and it's got lots of meat, so that means there's lots of protein. No, it means lots of fat, it means lots of calories. Doesn't mean that you're going to lose weight. Just for me, meat is the best fish, says Ofook. Okay, what does that mean? Ofook. Mongoose87 says, as someone who ate 1 gram of protein per pound of my body weight for a year to bulk, I can say it's very hard to eat that much. Yes, it is. And I have been supplementing with protein shakes for lunch, switching out my lunch. I'll either have a protein shake or I'll have a salad for lunch, typically, sometimes a sandwich, but very rarely. I usually will save all my calories for dinner, get my exercise, my workout, so I can earn more calories. After you exercise, if you have a good long hour-long workout, you can get as many as 300 to 500 extra calories to eat in a day, so that you can actually have a dinner that's substantive, maybe even pasta. Like I like chicken parmesan, right? Breaded chicken parmesan with lots of cheese, right? A little pasta on the side, nice sauce. I can have that, right? And I can even have 1 piece of garlic bread toast on the side, right? Control your portions. That's what a lot of it is, right? You can eat what you want for the most part, as long as you can control your portions. Now, can you eat McDonald's or Ding Dongs and Ho-Hos and Little Debbie's all day long and still lose weight? Yes, but you only can have half of one for lunch, and you're going to be starving all day long. That's why I eat oatmeal every morning, or like 2 eggs in the morning, because that's going to give you the energy that you need. It's going to make you feel full, and it's going to keep your calories low, right? It's not rocket science. You just have to eat less in order to lose weight, and you have to move more. But which states are the best? Which states are the worst? And I already have an explainer for why we're so fat here in the state of Missouri in terms of obesity and overall state and territories. This was from 2022. All U.S. states and territories had an obesity prevalence higher than 20%. So more than 1 in 5 adults. All 50 states, 1 in 5 of us adults are obese, right? So let's look at the Midwest. This is where I live in Missouri. 36%, right? The U.S. average is 34%. So Missouri is tracking right along. Oklahoma beats it with 40%. West Virginia, 41%. I'm trying to see if anybody is fatter than West Virginia, but they are I believe, fattest. Puerto Rico, 34%. Guam, 33%. 40 and 40, tied Mississippi and Louisiana, Oklahoma. But West Virginia looks like it's the fattest state in the union. And in Missouri, we're not doing so hot, 36%. But my excuse, of course, is that here in the Midwest, we don't have much public transportation. Not that I'm necessarily like, oh, I love public transportation, but when you live in cities and you live in denser areas, you're going to be able to get more exercise. If we lived in New York City, we'd all be a lot thinner, right? You walk around a lot more, and that's just the reality on the ground. Midwesterners don't walk a whole lot. They drive everywhere, and that's what it is. So if you're interested in losing weight and you like these kinds of conversations, I'd love to hear your feedback on that topic. These kinds of topics, not typically what we cover on the Wake Up America show, but I think the human element, the human interest factor is part of why I think it's important to have these discussions. And it's a morning show anyways, so we can pretty much talk about whatever we want. It is my show after all, but I'd be curious your input on what kind of topics you really like on the Wake Up America show. You can send me a text message. See that number down there, 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Barney Styles says he needs to lose 100 pounds to qualify as just a fat guy. Oh. Sorry, Barney. Barney, what was it you were asking me for earlier? Remind me. You may have to text me because the Rumble chat goes away. That's the sad music. It means that the show's over, but that doesn't mean that the show's over for a long time. We'll be right back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central Time, so come back. Bookmark us. It's the Wake Up America show. Where can you find the Wake Up America show? It's at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. Rumble.com/AP for Liberty. Click follow before you leave. Click the like button too, guys. We appreciate you all. The Wake Up America show brought to you by viewers and listeners just like you. Click the like button before you leave. And of course, when you do leave, you have to exit through the grift shop because, well, that's how we set it up. What is the grift shop, Austin? It's where we grift all your money. You go and you give us money and we just grift, and then you grift and they say, do not come.
Do not come.
But you say,
I'm going to come.
Exit at the grift shop. That's forlibertyshop.com. The number 4, forlibertyshop.com. Our Comrade Camila shirts are selling like crazy. We've got 3 beautiful colors. We've got poppy red. Sometimes those are sold out. So, ooh, yeah, poppy's sold out. You're going to want to check out forlibertyshop.com. Get yourself a beautiful Comrade Camila shirt. You're going to wear that all through the fall season. People think you're wearing the zombie shirt, but it's just the Comrade Camila shirt. You can get that exclusively at the number 4, forlibertyshop.com. Forlibertyshop.com, Comrade Camila. Then click on the little hamburger menu up there. Check out all our products. Check out our coffees, our shoes, our golf collection. This mug says less government, more beer. I need to get the picture up there that says less government, more beer Steins. Walton and Johnson. Tax this Dick George Washington mug. Looks like a wrestler. Come back with a warrant French Bulldog mat. Stephanie and I have this one outside our house. All those fine products and more at forlibertyshop.com. Go shopping today. Help to support not only the For Liberty Network and the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty, but you're helping support small business, an American family, me, my wife, and little Hazel Rose Peterson. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit PetersonVoiceStudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP4Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at ap4libertyshop.com.